Hello, welcome to Sterling Armory's Sword Talk. This is episode 30. So episode 30 is kind of important for us. So if you're new to the channel, we are a bunch of sword nerds who make swords, and we drink a lot. Okay, that sounds bad. We drink a bunch and make swords. Is that it? Yeah, that's fine. But for our Sword Talk podcast here, we talk about everything sword related. And we grab a drink, and we talk about a certain topic. We're not drunk, so it kind of made it seem like we're all drunk. But episode 30 is this is 1 year, a little over 1 year actually, but 1 year-ish we've been recording these, so it's kind of cool. Yeah, let's jump into the topic of today and bring on our other guys. Could you guys hear me, by the way, when I'm talking?
Yeah.
Yeah, I made it sound like drunks.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, I didn't mean to make it sound like drunks, but yeah.
The whole time I was like, oh, God.
Yeah. You got to kick me off. So 1 year. 1 year doing these. It's pretty cool. Is that music too loud, by the way?
Turn it down a little bit.
Sausage looks like a toe. Not weird?
Yeah, it does.
That's weird. Maybe it is.
Mafia is trying to send you a message, man.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been a year for us recording these, talking about random sword topics, and so today we're going to go through. I think it's a fun topic. A lot of people think it's a nerdy topic, but the topology of medieval swords, which most of us, actually all of us here, make medieval swords. So yeah, we're going to run through that real quick. Josh, you want to do some intros while you're eating?
Yeah, man. Joshua Von Warbear. You can find me on Instagram at warbear_armory. Oh, that's fucking fly. Sorry. You can Facebook at Joshua Von Warbear. Yeah, the typology, man. Can't wait. It's it's so like excited. The librarian saying, what gets me excited about the Dewey Decimal System.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, Colton.
Yeah, I'm Colton at Copperthorn Customs. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all under Copperthorn Customs, or at Sterling Armory on all the same. So, besides TikTok.
And I'm Chris, and yeah, we can find us all at Sterling Armory. If you're here, you obviously found us on YouTube. So we have a big Facebook page, and all of us, you'll see all the links below for Instagram and Facebook and all that.
Another toe.
Yeah, did you make that?
Yeah.
Do you have your shoes on? Do you need to check and see if you put some toes in there? Like,
hey, when I do cooking, weird shit happens.
Yep.
Oh,
stuff right here.
Crunchy.
So yeah, real quick before we dive into our topic, what are we drinking? Per usual lately, I'm surprised I still have a lot of this stuff. And with my Sterling Armory cup.
You're not helping your case from your intro, man.
Oh, man.
I'm surprised I still have a lot of this.
We're not drunks. We're not. Man, I still got a lot of this. Cases around here.
Yeah. It's been lasting a while.
I have a Dr. Pepper and a... Oh, what was it? It's a whipped cream vodka in it.
Ooh.
So it's pretty good, actually.
Like a root beer float, right? Yeah,
I don't know. Kinda, I guess, but Dr. Pepper and vodka, so...
Yeah.
However close that can be.
Sounds pretty good.
I'm having sausage and rice and water because my body is still getting used to Arizona and decided it was time to be sick right away.
And dry out entirely?
Yeah. Turns out if you're not a lizard, you immediately die. As soon as you
like a piece of bacon?
Yeah, just on the road, like busted over. Oh, it was bad.
I told you, man.
I'm not taking any chances.
No, I wouldn't. Alrighty.
Awesome.
So yeah, we have we're gonna run through the Oakeshott Typology. If you're not familiar with the Oakeshott Typology, basically there was a former typology about Viking blades. And Oakeshott really wanted to kind of cover medieval swords and kind of their evolution from the Viking era-ish time period up to the Renaissance. So the Oakeshott Typology kind of tries to track the evolution of medieval blades in that era. And there's a lot of different types of blades. So it's not 100%, like it doesn't, if you follow the numbers exactly, they don't necessarily go in numerical or chronological order. Because, you know, medieval times, you had stuff used all over the place. So, but it's close. It's a good enough, I guess. And it's, I guess for us, the reason why we look at it, it's kind of the industry standard now for makers. When they make and name a type of blade, customers and makers usually use the typology as a naming convention for swords, so and to identify what you're making. So that way, it's an easy way to communicate on what sword is what, I guess is a good way to put it. So let's start off. So the first one we have, so it starts all the way at 10. Is that, wait, hold on. That or that?
The other one.
That's probably better. I don't know. Do what you want.
I think the other one isn't involved in, like, there you go, because now you can see the picture completely.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
So type 10, oh shoot, I forgot my books. I should probably actually read from the book. But type 10, I'm going to go off memory here. And if I forget, I'll have to run out and grab the book. So the first type that he has for the medieval, and also thanks to my Armory. So the images that we're going to see today that are sketches, I believe, are Peter Johnson's sketches of the Oakeshott Typology. And they're all available on my Armory. It's what they use on their featured content section. So if you like what we're talking about today and you want to read more into it, I highly recommend the My Armory webpage, just to dive in, and it has everything from the books it has on the website, and it goes a bit further, so which is nice, such as these images. So I basically a type 10. Sorry, my brain just for type 10 is basically he describes it as a single hand length blade, so 30-inch, 33-inch blade, but the fuller is wide and goes all the way down to the tip of the blade. So that's really what makes it type 10. The edges are roughly parallel, wide fuller all the way down. Then the type 10A, which he doesn't really have drawn here, I guess the one on the left would be that, is kind of the same, but the fuller is just a bit narrower. And the Oakeshott's famous sword from his collection is a type 10. So for some reason, Peter Johnson only drew Viking blades here, or Viking-ish. I don't want to say Viking blades because they could be Saxon or whatever, but Viking time period-ish. But so if I go to slide 2, so the sword on the left is a type 10. Actually, I think both of these are type 10As. So you can have a European hilt as well, not just a Viking hilt or Viking-looking hilt. And the one on the right is the famous Oakeshott one. So, Josh, I think you got a version of that, right?
Yes, the Albion.
Yeah. I'm gonna spotlight you. Hold on one sec. Yeah, that is a somewhat of a, I don't know if it's an exact copy, but very similar to the original Oakeshott Type 10. And I think one of Oakeshott's favorites, other than the Moonbrand blade.
So I mean, that's kind of like flaring out a bit right before the guard. Is that kind of common on that? Yeah, some of the older types do that.
Okay. Peter actually captures that in some of the sketches.
Okay.
Yeah, you can have a flare out down at the base, which is cool.
That's very cool. I like it just adds a little bit of interest to it. Not that it's not already very interesting, but a little extra.
10.
So those are type 10s. A lot of type 10s do have Viking-ish style hilts, but not all.
Okay.
So they can kind of range all over the place. The European hilts are usually pretty basic, like the one Josh just showed. Simple cross guards and simple pommels there.
It helps.
I go back to... There we go. So yeah, that's type 10. The other cool thing with type 10s is they often, like the one on the left there, they often have that engraved fuller, or not engraved, actually inlaid fuller. So it's usually iron or some sort of inlay, which is cool.
That is very cool. That'd be fun to do.
So have you, other than the Albion one that you have, Josh, I guess in Colton as well, have you had any other Type 10s? I think I have one. Yeah, I think I have a Angus True one. I usually don't. Personally, I'm not a Type 10 fan myself.
Yeah, well, so I had a couple of Vikings, but I'm fresh out of Viking at this point.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't think that...
And Arming.
Yeah, that one Viking I did fairly recently would be a Type 10, I believe, right?
Yep.
Okay. So, yeah, I don't have one with me.
So, yeah, I'm also not... I don't really like making these either myself, so I tend to stay away from them. But, you know, they're cool, especially the Oakeshott one with the, you know, with the hollow ground edges. There's still, I think there's still a little debate on whether or not that should be a Type 10 and should be as old as they date it. Because it just seems too modern looking. But you know, I don't know the full facts on that one. So that's Type 10.
I mean,
so
I've got another one of those blades that I'm probably going to be doing here soon. So I wasn't super excited to make one of these as my first one. And then like I did it and I was like, this is actually, I really like how this handles, performs. It was quite fun to make. That one was kind of a roller coaster for me. I started it and was like, eh. And then halfway through, I was like, this is really cool. And then it was like, I don't know how I feel about this. It was just kind of it was all over the place. And then at the very end, I was like, okay, this is awesome. And I'm going to make more. So
nice.
Yeah, I've got more coming.
Some of the interesting aspects of Type 10s, actually 10s, 11s, and some 12s, is that usually have very little distal taper, and their balance points are way out, like 7-8 inches out from the guard.
Well, but they're also really usually very light, right?
Very light, yeah. They're very light in general.
The little taper is just more and less, like more just meaning they're thin all the way down, rather than just not much taper, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, super thin blades. And their tips are usually pretty rounded, so they're not really thrusting blades. They're more like, you know, just meant for cutting.
Slashies.
So the 11s, and I was waiting for Josh's...
11?
11? Shit!
So the 11s are, there's two types, 11 and 11A. And they're basically, and then the XA, so the Type 10A, was also grouped in with these until he pulled them out separately. But they're basically the same thing as a Type 12, but the fullers, as a Type 10, but the fullers are a lot narrower, and the blades themselves are orders of magnitude longer. They're like 34 inches and longer, but they're still single-hand blades.
Yeah.
So they're really long. The brazen up pommel is very common on this type. In fact, I think it's the most common on this type. And so basically, it's just like a Type 10 that we just looked at, just a lot longer, and the fullers are much narrower.
But they're still extremely thin and very forward balanced, correct?
Yeah, even more forward balanced because
they're longer. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, like personally, I've never been like a huge fan of that one on the left. I don't know what it is about it. I'm just like, it's not like they're cool and they feel good, but I'm just like, But that one on the right, I'm like, that's a pretty sweet looking sword. Could go for that.
Yeah. So even that one though, that blade is would be, in order for it to be a Type 11 and not a Type 10, that blade is quite long.
So somewhere up in like a 35-inch blade with a narrow fuller and very forward balanced. Yep. Interesting.
I think, I mean, the thought is they're probably cavalry blades. Right?
Okay.
I'm again going off memory. I should have brought the book in so I can actually go read it. But yeah, I think that's the common belief on it.
So like, what's the weight coming in on this averaging? Are we in that like 1.5 to 2 pounds range for something like this? Or are we a little heavier?
A little heavier. I think 2 to 2.5.
2 to 2.5. Okay.
Yeah. Actually, some of the ones with the bracelets are up almost 3 pounds.
Okay. Well, so the Type 10s are they like one of the lightest? Because those ones will be down in the 1.5 pound range, won't they? From just memory here.
I don't think they get that light.
They don't get quite that light?
Unless they're much smaller versions, right? So I think most of those are 2.5 as well. But again, for all of these types, the weights can be all over the place.
Sure.
But yeah, for the most part, I think the averages for all the armoring swords are usually 2 to 2.5 pounds.
Okay. When I was making mine, I was feeling pretty good if I could hit right around 2 pounds, and I did, and I was like, sweet. So, but I was like, I feel like I was reading it around a couple places that like they'll dive under 2 pounds. I was like, that's insane. That is so light to get that much material removed.
Well, yeah. Something that's not really well thought of or well known is some of the Viking blades like that are or Viking time period, I should say, blades. There's some that look deceptively long, but in reality, they're not long. They're just actually quite narrow blades. So they may only be 1.5 inches, 1 3/4 wide. They have that wide fuller in them, so there's not much material in that blade, and they're super thin. So it's almost like a machete.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the guards and pommels are tiny as well. So yeah, you can get one of those down under 2 pounds. So those are the ones that some people try to use to say, "Oh, look, it's a Viking hand and half sword." It's like, no. Your scaling of that sword is what is off in your brain because you automatically think that blade is wide, and it's not.
Right.
So that is the 11.
Yes. We got to cue that up to let everybody know what we're talking about one day.
Yeah.
I thought I had. No, I don't have one. Again, another type that I don't do. I have done a couple of these a couple years ago, but I haven't done any lately. Actually, I don't think I've ever done one like one on the left, so I might want to do that at some point. Okay, on to type 12. So type 12, this is, I think, when we start getting fun. So type 12 and 12A. So 12A is probably the most common medieval greatsword. Right? That's what that is. Whereas the type 12 is basically the same blade. So now the fuller doesn't go all the way to the tip. It goes about 3/4 down the blade. Your cross section is oval, not diamond yet. We haven't gotten to that type of blade yet. And yeah, so basically 12 is a single hand, 12A is your longsword version. And I just did a 12A not that long ago. Went to Stephen Horta for a scabbard, and then I'm blanking on the guy who bought it. He bought a couple blades from me. I just sent him that new one too. Jason. Yeah, there you go. I don't know why I blanked on that. Sorry, Jason. But yeah.
We're getting like a lot of feedback from somebody. Are you guys hearing that? I don't know.
Well, put some headphones on. I'm running a dryer in the background.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, there's something going on.
When it started up, I didn't. I just kind of looked around like, all right, they're not reacting. We're good.
No, I'm just like, that's kind of an annoying background noise. I don't know what that is, but...
Not bad, homie. Let's see here.
I'm like, if I have to listen to that for the next hour, I don't know how I'm going to do. We'll see.
Actually, I didn't hear it on my side.
Well, you don't have your headphones on, so...
No, my headphones, another thing I have to get new. So my light's out, and then now my headphones are out too. So I'm in bad shape here.
Yeah, you are. This seems very interesting to build one. It's not really been like on my bucket list, shall we say? Like I don't think I have any planned. I don't. Is
that better?
Yeah, it seems better. Sweet. All right, continue.
Yeah, Josh, I was thinking this is probably one of your favorite types, but not sure.
It's all right.
The original one that we did for you way back, even though it had a short ricasso on it, was technically a type 12.
Yeah. Loved that sword. Now it's gone.
Well, again, it looks like it's flaring out right before the guard, which is really cool. I think that's an awesome shape. But
yeah, same.
Yeah, some do. So what the cool thing with the 12s is if you take the profile that we particularly use for a Type 18, and then you grind in a little bit to get a flared blade, and then have your edges a little bit more parallel, and then keep the tip there, you can turn your 18 profile into a 12, then fuller it, and don't diamond grind it.
Don't diamond grind it, fuller it 3/4 to 2/3 down, and Maybe I'll have to do one of those sometime soon. That'd be cool.
These are also so your arming swords can get up to, I think, 33-ish long or 34-ish. And then the great swords can go all the way to 39, 40-inch long blades. So
that'd be sweet.
Yeah. So that's the Type 12.
All right.
Notice
I like it.
This is the first of the types that taper in profile. So the 10 and 11 didn't really do that. So 12 is the first one that does that. And then when we go back to 13, it goes the opposite way. So Type 13 drops the opposite. So it stays long. Your fuller is now half the length instead of 3/4. And instead of tapering down in width, it stays parallel the whole way. So these are really long.
Chunky boys.
Yeah.
I'm digging that Type 13.
So, Josh, I would say this is probably what Helheim's making right now, right? He's got about a fuller halfway down with a...
Yeah.
And he's just...
his blade is basically parallel all the way down. I don't
basically parallel, fairly long.
Yeah.
All right, so he's probably doing a 13.
Type 13 at the moment.
Cool.
We'll see. We'll see. I think it keeps changing in front of him.
It does. He's so Blade. We set his crossguard last week. Got his grip all done and set. So we're just working on the pommel. So,
how was that? Good seat on it?
What?
Did it have a good seat?
Yeah, we had to. We brought his shoulders up about 1/4 of an inch and added a little thicker taper there, and then hammered it down, and it worked pretty well. So
awesome.
It's ringing. He's very happy. When we hammered that down and tapped it, and he was like, "Oh my God, that's amazing!" So it was. It's
why
fun.
we do it. It's why we do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have two types here. So 13 is the one on the left. So when he was going through his categorization and creating these, I think they all started as numerics or as like the Roman numeral without the alpha character afterwards. So he did basically Type 13 was a long parallel edge blade, a lenticular cross section with the fuller halfway down it. And at that time, when he first started looking, the grips were about 5-6 inches, and that was it. So about 1.5 hands, if you're lucky, grip. But then he found a bunch more that had longer grips, so that became 13A.
Okay.
The blades are similar, but a lot longer. And then the grips are also a lot longer. But other than that, it's the same cross-section and same blade type. And then he found later on, a bunch that were the same length and blade shape as the original 13, but now the grips are much shorter. So that became 13B. So,
that's weird.
In my brain, the single hand was always the number, and then the longsword version was A or B, right?
That's what I always thought, but
it's actually not what it is. So it's really confusing. So it's the opposite on 13, right? So 1.5 is your 13, 2-hand is 13A, and then single hand is 13B.
And people say this isn't complicated.
Exactly right.
And I don't know who says that. I actually never heard anybody say that this isn't complicated because it's all over the place.
It is, and it's not exact, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's more of a guideline.
More of a guideline than an actual rule.
Exactly. So, and then the next one we're going to look at, so Type 14 is the last of the lenticular cross-section ones, the oval cross-section.
Okay.
And also the last of Group 1. So Group 1 swords, so Type 10 to 14, are all in the time period when chainmail or mail armor was predominant. So plate mail really wasn't a thing yet. So
lots of slashy, less stabby.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Type 14, though, is in that transition phase, right? Which is why we get these blades. So this is Type 14.
Oh, I like those.
Yeah, we all like these. I know I like these. But the famous one in the middle there, I think Peter Johnson was trying to draw the one at the Met, which is a huge example of one of these.
That looks very similar to the Sword in the Stone.
Right, definitely. Well, so I don't know. Here, run through your characteristics first, and then I'll ask my question.
So, again, still that. Oh, I just got a chunk of ice.
All right, I'll ask my question while you're eating your ice. So this to me appears like this. Like, I mean, obviously, I'm relating fantasy movies into typology, which is never probably a great thing. But so this is more or less like a Boromir sword, if I'm just looking at it, right?
Yeah.
Because that looks like the right profile, the right kind of fuller going on, a fairly large single-hander quotation, hand and a half type thing, right? Yeah, so this is kind of what?
Yeah, I was going to say Boromir's would be like a fantasy version of one of these.
Awesome.
Continue. So these are quite cool. We make a lot of these, or I make a lot of these, I should say. I think, Josh, have you made one of these before?
I've probably made, well, as far as arming swords, I think I've made maybe 2 or 3, and none of them have been these.
Okay.
I've never made one, is what I was shaking my head at. Yeah. So
the trickiest part in these is that cross section it's different, right? Because you have the fuller, but it's lenticular, but you're also tapering the heck out of the profile. So, but they're fun.
Fun.
Also, this type often gets mixed up with type 16, which we'll see in a bit.
Okay.
And the only difference is the cross section, lenticular versus diamond. So, yeah. So these are type 14s. So type 15 starts grip 2, and I think we all know these are one of the ones we make the most of.
I like that. I have a fantasy version example. I'll grab it as you're talking.
We all have an out, or Josh and I have Albion examples of this. So.
Yeah.
I've got my 15 here.
Yeah. Is that? I forgot. Is that a 15 or an 18? That's 15.
This one's the 15. It's the 5/16 base and very pokey.
Thick pokey guy.
Scoot back a little bit.
So type 15s come around right when plate armor gets very popular. So Oakeshott describes that he thinks that's what caused the major transition in blade design, which makes sense. So now we start getting blades that are either very pokey or very cutty, or a mix of the two, but definitely designed to be more rigid. Whereas the lenticular cross section is more flexible, like more floppy blades, I should say. Not really floppy. I guess flexible is a better word. And the famous blade for the Type 15 is like the Black Prince blade. I think a lot of people know that one. It's a pretty famous one. So Type 16 is next. So this one may not be too well known. Can you guys see that all right? It looks very light on my screen.
Yeah, we could see it. It is lighter than the rest of them, but it's good.
Okay. So the far left one, the 16 is the arming sword version. And it's basically the Type 14, but that particular one is a narrow version. But it's a diamond cross-section instead of a lenticular cross-section.
Right.
He also says that the section where the fuller is can also be hexagonal instead of diamond. So that's also pretty common. And it's hard to tell, right, if you have a fuller there. So,
yeah.
Right.
So the fuller was filled in. Would it be a hex or would it be a diamond? Right. That's hard to tell. Then 16A, I think is I have one of these in front of me. So 16A is kind of like an 18-ish, but for some reason, the guards on a lot of them, it's very common for them to be very short.
Okay.
And the blades, instead of having a diamond cross section, have a hex or a almost octagonal cross section. So you can kind of see it in the sketch there, where he has an extra line. It almost looks like a giant secondary bevel, but it's not. It's just the shape of the blade.
Interesting. Okay.
And then the 16A on the right there is another example, but even Peter Johnson and Oakeshott himself were like, they don't know if that's a 16A or an 18. It's kind of in the middle. So depends on how reworked the blade was. So if that blade was reworked a lot, then it was probably a 16. If it wasn't reworked a lot, it could be an 18. The reason why is that you can tell like there's somewhat of a hexagonal shape there, but it's kind of ground away. So yeah, basically it's a stiffer, heavier, or not necessarily heavier. It's a stiffer version of a Type 18 just because there's more meat in the cross section. That's all.
So what's their like kind of balance and weight in comparison to an 18?
Similar.
Very similar?
Yeah, very similar. So they're similar, but overall a little stiffer. That's all.
Okay.
Then type 17 is, I think, a pretty uncommon type, especially in the sword making market. But they're all over museums out west, or I mean, out east in Europe. So type 17s are hexagonal cross-section blades, right? Very chunky, but they're like a type 15 where they come to a very narrow point. So they're a giant spike, but instead of being a diamond profile spike, it's a hexagonal profile spike. Sometimes they have fullers in them. Most of the time they don't. So yeah, they also that pommel type on the right and on it's very similar on the left. That is unique to type 17s as far as we've found. We haven't found that on any other type of blade. So
okay, interesting. Cool.
How you doing, Josh? You stay with
us? So
I keep thinking, like, am I visibly strained?
Yeah, I figured I'd fall out of the camera.
So yeah, I'm a little tired. It's not that it's not interesting.
Yeah,
it's just
the one slides on the left there is. Yeah. I mean, it appears that that's like a slight S guard, S curve on that guard, right? Or am I just kind of? It's hard to tell, but I'm like, is that somewhat common on these, or
no?
The far left one.
The far left.
Far left one. Yeah, the S guards don't get common till type 18s, I believe.
Okay, it's just like that shading or something is just kind of like, it looks like it could be curved, but it's a sketch.
So you'll see an S guard on the 18s next.
Okay.
And you'll be able to see the difference.
Okay.
But, you know, I'm thinking back now though. There might be a 17 with an S guard, but.
I mean, there's always an outlier, but if it's not common, so.
Yeah, not common that I'm personally aware of.
Okay.
18. So when we jump to the 18, why this is our favorite, or at least my favorite.
Yeah.
How many of them there are?
So, look at that.
Yeah, those are hot.
So talking about the sword and the stone, that's the typical 18, right? So the 14 could be that as well. So their handles are very similar. Just the blade profile is a bit different. So diamond instead of lenticular, right?
Okay.
So 18A is basically a long sword, but with a 5-inch-ish grip. So it's kind of hand and a half, but kind of not. But those are very common. Those are more common than the longsword varieties. So the longsword varieties are the B, which is the long one in the center, and then the C. So there's an S guard for you there for the 18C.
Yep, there it is.
What's funny, so first time I went to Combat Con, I basically made an 18C that looked just like this image here, because there's a lot of 18Cs that have that S-shaped guard. And I had it at the booth, and somebody came up and was like, why do you have isn't that guard supposed to be on an 18B, not an 18C? And I was like, well, no. So it could be either. And he's like, oh, I think that's the wrong guard for that sword. And then he just walked off. And I was like, oh, okay.
Okay.
So I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah, that's 18Cs commonly have that S-type guard, but 18Bs also have that guard a lot. In fact, any of these have that S-shaped guard a bit. So the 18D is more of the proto-rapier type blade.
Okay.
Or a side sword type blade, I guess you could call it.
So that would actually kind of surprise me. I like A or just 18 through C I've seen quite a bit, but I didn't realize that D was part of this. So
yep. Yeah, so D is and you don't see too many of them out there, but it's essentially a side sword or a proto rapier, like a pre-rapier, sure. But it has the same profile as the 18A.
Well, I mean, so it's the same profile. It looks like a longer, skinnier blade just in that example. Are they quite long with a pretty small handle then?
Yep.
Okay. Weird. Yeah.
Same with the A.
Still an 18. So.
Yep.
Huh.
Yep. And then the one on the far right there is the 18E. They just keep adding to these.
Yeah.
But those are the big. So he doesn't say it's only the Danish two-handers, but the Danish two-handers, like what's seen there in that example, are quite common, and that is really a massive two-handed Type 18 with a ricasso and then the diamond ground blade after that ricasso.
I really want to make one of those sometime. That's
and the ricasso narrows compared to the blade. That's another big feature of that.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I know there's some museum examples of one of those, but I have not seen one in person yet. And I can at some point. In fact, I think there's one in Chicago. If we ever get up there.
That'd be fun. Yep, I'd like to make one of those sometime. That'd be cool. How long is that? Like just off, like what is the average size that you, if you know off the top of your head?
Well, going off the top of my head, total length would probably be 48 to 56-ish inches.
Awesome.
Yeah. Or hell, 48 to 58. I'll say that.
48 to 58.
Yeah, somewhere in that area. Yeah. Actually, 48 would be too short. Sorry, take that back. 52 to 58 inches, probably. Josh, how long was it?
Can you hear us, Josh?
Oh, he fell asleep. You on mute.
Okay, I'm back.
How long was that Danish two-hander that you had?
Probably right around, if not right under 60 inches.
Yeah.
There you go. It seemed like it. It was massive.
My audio fell out of my headphones. Bluetooth just stopped working, so I muted it. And
so you're just sitting there watching us.
Yeah, it's just I'm watching you and trying to turn everything off and on again. And the moment you asked me, the headphones kicked back on.
Yeah.
Well, no, the third time we asked you, your headphones kicked back on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're just like, Josh.
I swear to
Hey, Josh, how about that? Okay, continue.
Yeah, the sun's going down on my side, so if I start going dark, let me know.
Of course, when we start talking about my favorite typology, my headphones screw you.
I just thought you were falling asleep over there. That's all.
Yeah, I did too. I thought you were zoned out.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was listening, but I was putting me on mute because the washing machine in the background.
Nice.
So my competition competition longsword for cutting, if I can talk right, is an 18B, and I think every sword back here behind me, other than the Tauhopper, is 18B. So yeah, that's my favorite type, 18 and 18Bs. So, I like Cs, but they're a little too wide for my taste, I think, and I hate making them. I used to like making them, but it takes a lot to grind those things.
Right.
Can't say hate. That's a strong word. I prefer to do a B or an A or an 18.
Yeah. That is a lot of material to remove.
So from here on out, they kind of get I don't really, my interest drops off. But the Type 19s are quite common as well. These are also very common in museums. So if you're up at the Met, there's a bunch of these up there. And these are, again, like early side sword-ish, but still arming swords or longsword varieties. And the common thing with all these is they have that very short ricasso and that very narrow fuller that goes about a third to halfway down the blade. And then they have that kind of scroll work that's like line work around the ricasso and down the fuller. And most of these that I have personally seen come out of the Alexandria arsenal, so it seems like they were probably all made by one person or one group.
Interesting. Okay.
But they are quite common. LK Chen just recently worked with Matt Easton to recreate one of these. But yeah, I have made one before. It wasn't that great because I was really young when I made it, so I'm probably due to make another one for people who like arming swords with the finger rings. This is probably the type they're going to go towards. Also, a lot of the Irish and Scottish blades, the 1500s-ish time frame, or even 1600s, are this type of blade as well.
So they're all like a hexagonal, and do any of them have diamond profiles?
No, they're all hexagonal.
They're all hexagonal.
Very, very flat.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the tips of these, like from the last third of the blade, are 90 thousandths or thinner.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can take them like whoop. So they're really, really flexy.
Huh. Okay.
And they also stay. This is the first type since in Group 2 that stays parallel, right? So everything in Group 2, the fighting armor, was very profile tapered, whereas these are kind of coming in after armor is kind of fading out. So especially plate armor is fading out at this point, and that's when these kind of pop back in. Then the next type 20. So basically these are, I think this is the type where he didn't quite know what to do. So he's like, I have all these other blades that don't fit into my other types. So what am I going to do with them? So the first 20 you see there is basically a giant, almost type 18 shaped blade, but it has multiple fullers in it. So examples of that, and they're usually huge too. They're usually massive giant swords. Some of them are executioner blades as well. But they're usually, 3 inches wide and wider, and they have 5 or 6 fullers on each side. So,
Jesus.
Some of them have 3 fullers, but a lot of them are more than that. Then the one on the right is another version of the Type 20, where it's that center fuller with the 2 flanking side fullers that we all personally like.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes they call those 17s or 18s, depending on the rest of the blade's profile. But technically, I guess if you have that ricasso with the fullers, it would put it in a Type 20 for some reason. You never really clarified why that is. That's just what he did. So,
okay.
But again, this is one of his most inconsistent areas, because in one book he has there's one sword that he calls a Type 20 in one book, but that same exact sword in the other book he calls a Type 17. It's like, well,
which is it?
Which is it? So. And I guess it's kind of both. I don't know. And then the last 2 are together. So Type 21 are the, I can never pronounce this correctly, the Cinquedias? Yeah. Is that right?
I don't know.
So basically a multi-fullered arming sword that drastically... So, yeah, isn't that a bug?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm in Florida too. I should know that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so multiple fullers in an arming sword. Usually, the fuller is tapered to that point.
Okay.
A lot of them have that really weird cinquedilla grip on them too. It's different. Peter's sketch doesn't show it here, but. And then the Type 22 is really weird, arming sword or long sword, but all of them have these. It's hard to tell in the sketch, but there's 2 fullers side by side in the ricasso-ish area, and they're only about 6 to 8 inches long. So there's a bunch of different blades that have those 2 fullers, but their profiles and even their blade cross sections are very different. But he just lumps them all into 22. So
what is? Whatever. I mean, it doesn't look like it's diamond ground, right?
No, they're usually lenticular, but there are diamond ground ones as well. But they're usually much later too, 1600s, late 1600s. So we're getting into the Renaissance at this point.
Okay, makes sense, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the topology. Very exciting, right? Yeah. I mean, I think it's exciting, but I know it's Josh asleep. So we're gonna do a series of Josh where he's Edward Oakeshott. And
forgot about that.
Yeah, we gotta do that. Let me bump this back here. Nope. Josh, your head's cut off. There we go. So yeah. So any of those stand out as your favorites? I mean, 18s are mine. Is that everybody
18Bs?
else?
18s.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially 18B.
Any there that you want to make that you haven't done before?
I'd probably get into some more 10s eventually. I think I started with a lust for Viking swords.
Yeah, I think that sounds interesting as well. Do a couple of those. Well, I mean, with the size of that one you have, yeah.
No, yeah, you got.
That's right.
You gotta stop making such big stuff, man. Is that one in the 3/8 inch thick or whatever? 5/16 thick?
3/8, yes, 3/8.
That is
it's so awesome. Once it's done, it's like that's cool. But yeah, any time from the beginning where it's like, oh, drawing it, that is awesome. to getting the steel and working on it is like, oh God,
that was a bad idea.
That was rough. Yeah, what a piss poor idea. Came up with it. Oh yeah, it was really big swords.
Yeah, my light's still not working.
Yeah, these new Xiphoses are so small, or so lightweight and tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
if you like doing short swords, you can get you some more short sword blanks.
Yeah. I'm going back to the 13-foot swords.
Oh God.
Yeah. I'm gonna.
Your back's gonna hate you.
Off about the parade swords and the pirate guy that fought with a 7-foot sword. I'm just gonna start making those, pissing everyone off.
So I'm gonna try to do some more Tech 12s. I think just because I like that, and I'm gonna try to do a Tech 12 with a flared base. In fact, I might try to do one of those for Combat Con this year.
Okay, that'd be cool.
Nice.
Yeah, that's really also maybe so Type 14s as well. Also,
I was just gonna say
flared bases. Yeah,
I think a 14 sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, they're fun. So Josh, you did a lenticular cross section with me one time, right? Where you did all the horizontal running. How much of a pain in the ass that was?
Such a pain in the ass. I did it because my lines weren't straight. So I screwed it up. And I was like, well, that ain't worth a damn.
It works quick. Yeah. It's just a pain.
Yeah.
You can also sharpen your blade very quickly without realizing it.
I nicked the corners of my fingers a lot because it was sharpening it while I was working on it. Yeah. So it was pretty cool, though. Did a couple daggers like that.
Yeah, daggers are good to do that way.
Oh, I don't know if you saw this. Oh.
I'm going to highlight him again. Hold on.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, wait.
That's not him. You are alone. Okay. Damn. That's cool.
So is that 2 belts that you can adjust?
No. It looks like it, and that was originally the idea, was to put buckles, but it was the Tandy leather was closed, so I was like, screw it, I'm just going to do with what I got. So I also made a little leg loop to go around to hold it nice to the thigh.
Oh,
but kind of not liking how it works out. Kind of.
Yeah, you might just want to leave it without it, right?
Yep. Yeah. Kind of a failed. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I like it.
So you went and sharpened that one with Phil, right?
No. He sharpened the one I let him borrow.
Okay,
and,
gotcha.
I just started making a scabbard.
Gotcha.
And he gave me the sharpened one back, and we're gonna go on a little expedition where we sharpen stuff as well.
Nice.
Awesome.
How'd you like cutting with that? Was it pretty sweet?
It was actually really, really fun.
Okay.
You know me, I'm more of a guerrilla double-hander. But just slicking it through there, it worked really, really well.
Yeah, okay.
Also made myself look at this. Look at that.
Oh, it's a little baby phone pouch.
Got my cards in there.
Just
nice.
Card?
Yep.
Did you lose your phone?
No, it's in the garage. I was just like, you know what? I wonder if I could make a little card pouch. That'd be kind of cool.
It is kind of cool, yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, a new pattern?
Kind of sweet. Got a new pattern for it. I'll probably make a little bit bigger one. So, I'll probably go up like 1/4 of an inch on all around the pattern.
Pretty cool.
And I finally finished the iPhone one, the new Jagunda pouches.
Jagundas.
Oh, yep. So big.
Yeah, man. Well, cool.
Yeah.
You guys excited
good weekend.
Are you starting to plan Combat Con blades?
I'm only doing daggers and knives at this point for a quick second until I'm good enough, like health-wise, to jump back on actual meaty swords.
Yeah, gotcha.
Fair enough.
Yeah. There's a couple I want to try for those Type 10s. I've got 2 more and another Gladius left somewhere in the drawer, and then I'll just do a bunch of knives and daggers.
Cool. I got 12 blades currently planned. We'll see if I can get them all done.
We should make like Rita Repulsa says, make my monster grow, and make Colton bigger so he can show off these new Witcher swords he's been working on.
So you got both of them done, right?
Both of these swords are done. So, nailed it. I ended up with the little peen block on there, which I think was a good idea. Good option.
Good choice. Good choice.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty hot, sir.
Right. This one feels really good. Well, and then fullered out this section right here. Made me pretty happy. That? Right. So pretty happy with both of these. I'd say the set turned out great. And I believe they should be down at Combat Con unless somebody snags them up before. But
awesome.
Wow.
Right.
Are you gonna do any cutting with them with Chad?
Pretty red, man.
Possibly if he can.
Yeah, I would say, hey, here and video it.
Yeah. No, I need to go try this one out. This one, I mean, I just cut some bottles with it, and it actually worked surprisingly well for being a 15. But
yeah, I think the other one. So what's the base thickness on the other one? 1/4 inch?
Yeah, 1/4 inch. It's I would call it somewhere in that 18 range, but obviously
it's like a mini. It's like a mini 18E, right?
Yeah, it's a mini 18E.
Yeah, I know. Josh, we lose you again? Can you hear us?
Yep.
Okay. But yeah, I think that's just going to cut quite well.
I think so. I'm very happy with it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, cool. So yeah, that's all I have for the Oakeshott stuff. Hopefully that was somewhat helpful for you guys. Hey, doesn't cut Colton off. Hey. So, Josh just fills the whole page.
That's true.
But yeah, so we're excited for things coming up, and yeah, lots of work to do on my. Now I got to fix my light because it's not working, and I'm losing light here too, so I'm slowly getting darker in the screen. So, but yeah, anything else you guys want to chat about?
I think we covered it.
Yep.
I don't know what's happening with Josh. Nothing?
Are they not working? Can you hear us?
Can you hear us? Nothing? Okay. He's having that problem. Oh, there you go.
We can hear you.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Hello. We can hear you.
Son of a bitch. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
I can't hear anyone.
Quick, say whatever you want about him.
Yeah.
What's happening?
So, episode 30, our 1 year, is the episode with all the technical difficulties.
Yeah, apparently.
Lights out, headphones out. Yeah, everything's not working.
I believe I went pretty blurry a couple times throughout there, so.
Oh, I have as well. So,
yep.
Remember our 1 year where Warbear ate 2 toes, sausage toes, and his headphones failed him miserably.
Yeah, we had more than 2.
Still not working.
We had like 3 or 4.
Yeah, but only 2 looked like toes. One of them,
probably
fair enough, looked like
Awesome. Well, I guess we can close out there if you guys are good to go.
Yeah, that's good. I finished my drink, so.
I just did too. Yeah, I just finished the last of it. And
I finished my mega pint.
Colton, you don't forget, you got to get the cup to Josh.
I know. Well, at this point, I'm just going to ship them down. I think I have to.
Yeah, and the shirts.
You're not coming back up anytime soon, right?
Probably not.
Okay. Yep, we'll ship it down. I still have that coat of yours too, so.
And let me know when you guys when you do sharpening with Phil.
It does depend, I guess.
I might try to come out for that.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Okay. I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, let's end it, man. He can't hear. Yeah. Hey, that's Joshua Von Warbear. Yeah. You can find him on Instagram.
Here we go. Okay, I'm back. Hey, guys.
We're doing your outro
Warbear, for you. I don't know if you know, I've been here on the show for a year. Long time listener, first time talker. Yeah, I might come back up for a weekend or something. There's a couple films that just reached out asking if I could come do prop master stuff and bring some swords. So maybe.
I was saying if whenever you sharpen with Phil, let me know. I might try to come out for that.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
it'd be fun.
I think that'd be super rad. Colton, maybe you should come down and just hang out for that too.
Maybe.
Yeah, you should.
I got a little garage castle you can sleep in.
I have to fight Chris for it, but
right. Right.
Gentlemen, there's enough room for both of you in there.
Is there? Because I've seen
I mean, comfortably not so much.
A little
but
bunk bed.
I might build you a bunk bed. How about that? I'm gonna build you guys a bunk bed.
Okay.
Now you can only sleep in. No, I don't think you can actually stretch out in there. No,
I mean the garage is probably going to be like, I don't know, 120 degrees by the time we get there, so that's not going to be great.
Yeah, probably.
No, yeah.
Guys, we're gonna have fun. That's the point. I'm gonna be sleeping comfortably, so it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, quick outros. I'm Chris. You can find us at Sterling Armory here and on Facebook. And if you guys please comment below, we try to reply to everything, or I try to reply to everything. And then and then share on Facebook as well. We kind of like the channel, like when we first started, it grew really quickly and then it plateaued out. And it's kind of been plateaued out. That's fine with us, but it would be cool to see it start growing a little bit more again. If not, that's fine. Also fine with us, but we have fun doing these.
Yeah, we're just here to hang out. If you guys watch,
very low bars.
But
yeah, if you want to hang out with us, let us know. And we're looking for guests as well. So we have a bunch that'll be coming up soon. So that'll be fun.
Yep.
Alrighty.
I'm Warbear. Enter to win this big bag of change. And there's some house keys in there. That's weird.
Like and share to enter the win the bag of change.
Like and share to win this bag of change. There's some Canadian.
Nobody knows where that's been, so
including me, and it's mine. You can find me on Warbear_Armory on Instagram, or you can find me on Joshua Von Warbear on Facebook. And then we're gonna start a new segment called Warbear's Grumpy Corner, where I talk about problems like when you go to the theaters. Why do people give their kids phones and say, "Have at it" while we watch the movie? Why? And then the kids are just watching, SpongeBob or Hey Yo Gabba Gabba, while we're trying to watch Evil Dead Rise last night around 7:35.
That's when you start throwing hands, man.
And and 8-year-olds, they don't fight back. You can throw as much hands as you want. You go down quick.
Yeah.
And then their parents, same thing. Like, seems like a good time to scroll on Instagram for an hour and a half while someone next to you is watching a movie. And that's why when the world ends, I'm here for it.
Is that part of your movie review? Was it not very interesting?
Oh, no. Sorry, I got off on a tangent. The movie was pretty good.
Okay.
It reminded me, for some reason, the bag of change reminded me how angry I was at people these days.
Warbear's Grumpy Corner. You need to film it in your little castle.
Exactly, in the castle.
Right. Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. Since it's small, it'll just be me as a big grumpy ogre just sitting in there.
Put a sign on the outside of it. Put it on the door.
Warbear's
Grumpy Castle.
Things I hate. Yeah.
It's a terrible day.
Right. The antithesis to Mr. Rogers. It's just someone that hates everything down the road in a castle.
Awesome.
I'm Colton, Copperthorn Customs. You can find me under the same name from Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and then also at sterlingarmory.com.
Awesome.
No,
Ready, guys?
Not yet. Fine.
So, hi, Tori.
I'm wearing headphones, man. She doesn't know.
I know. Yeah, that's cool.
I didn't know your headphones were still working.
That's a fair point. I'm sorry. You're right.
I thought they were just a fashion statement.
They kind of were for the past hour of the video, or 20 minutes of the video.
But it's been a good first year, and excited for the next one. I think we're gonna have some more fun stuff coming out. So.
Yep.
We should have done like we're all filming in the same place year end if we would have thought about it. You know what I mean? We all gather at a castle in a museum somewhere, and
I think we need to do that anyway.
I think that's true.
Either the Met.
I'll bring the toes and rice.
Yeah. Toes and rice.
We got to figure out if there's any museums out by you guys. because I don't know of any.
There's a Gila monster suppository. I don't know. That can't be the right words.
That sounds right up our alley.
Perfect. Are you sure your water bottle wasn't vodka?
I don't know. That could explain why using Gila monsters as suppositories came out my mouth. Definitely didn't think that one through right away.
Yes, and right? Sure.
Either way, there's a museum.
Yeah, and we don't know what's in it, but there is a museum.
Yeah, there's a medieval times. That kind of counts.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
Sure.
Yeah, there's Marteau Toledo swords on display.
Yeah. Maybe we can do a review of one of those.
Totally. Yeah. We're gonna get kicked out so fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Alrighty. Thanks, guys, and we will catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.